They played game number 1, and they're like, we're not going to let you have Syndra or Gragas this time. That does mean that we have more of a possibility to see Zac or Galio. You will see second ban for Samsung is going to be Zac.
And no chance of Majin Buu entering the Rift this time around. You know, because people use a pink skin.
What? I didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry.
Never mind.
It's okay. And thinking about this last ban, there will be Elise.
Okay, so now they have to make the choice. Do you let Galio or Caitlyn go through? I'd imagine you let the Caitlyn not go through. There it is. Exactly. See? Samsung agrees. Even Galio is less broken than Caitlyn right now because teams have been trying many more answers. Galio has been part of the meta longer, therefore teams have been figuring out counters to him. You have Talia, who has seen some play against Galio to mixed success, but then you have Cassiopeia, who has that early pressure, and then you have Lucian, who, while Crown hasn't played it so far, or at least much, he does offer that crazy potential when you have the time mechanics that CoreJJ has played that can just do so much work in the mid lane, having that pressure for you. And we have Karma available still for Samsung, a common flex pick that can be given to CoreJJ or Crown, but they will lock away that Kha'Zix, and Karma would be nice to see, as I enjoy the play that Crown does bring to the table with this pick.
You can see the insta-lock of the Kha'Zix that was banned out last game by Jin and when you've got CoreJJ on your team and Zyra isn't banned, I think you just swoop that up right away.
They have no hesitation in locking that away. He's been targeting so many of these bans, and
he's cheering in the booth already.
I'm going to give you a throwback to this. He specifically quoted a little while ago that his ability at Zyra had improved from playing with Kiwi Kid way back in the NA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kiwi Kid is still carrying on the Zyra spirit inside CoreJJ.
A nice little throwback.
Yeah.
Kiwi Kid back in the day, and Umti trying to give us a throw forward by trying to make Rek'Sai relevant. He went 0-2 on it last time. It was not impressive. Less than inspiring, and I hope he's got something new for today.
He made the debut of the champion, and now we're going to get to see that Blitzcrank come again, but that's a rough pick to go into the Zyra. Remember that plants can always block that, and when you have a Fiora, again, another target that can easily dispatch of your rocket grab, then Blitz play becomes that much more difficult.
I almost feel like it's like a cheesy pick, you know? You don't really feel all too confident. So you can see like the cheeky grins that Teddy and Snowflower had after they pick it up too. They're like, well, I hope this works. I hope we can get some sick grabs and kind of just bounce our way to victory.
Well, speaking of cheese, we have to respect the possibility that this is a mid lane Fiora. It has been played before, and it's a great answer into Galio. Galio really has no business dealing with Fiora. Not only are all his CC moves incredibly telegraphed, and Victor will be the ban away. Make sure that Crown doesn't get his hands on that pick that has seen some success into Blitz, into Galio. But I really want to see him play that Fiora mid. Absolutely not his style, incredibly unlikely, but you always have to have that thought in the back of your mind when you're going through a draft with flex picks.
Yeah, you can see that Jin they're not really respecting Fiora mid. They're saying, okay, let's ban out some other counters to Galio. The Victor can just sit there and kind of farm up. And the Orianna, another nice safe pick against that.
He's going with the lip by you. Oh, could it be that he's actually thinking about it? The Fiora, I seriously doubt it. It would be a treat to see.
Ruler deciding what ADC he's going to play tonight will be the Varus. Has been picked up very often by Ruler, oftentimes when Caitlyn is not available, of course.
Just the pick you really expect. It's great synergy between him and Zyra, as you can combo your Tendrils of Corruption, spread by the time that Stranglethorns comes through and CC everybody, do so much damage to everybody. It's such a great AoE feel that it lets you get away with the Kha'Zix and Fiora. It picks that lack crowd control, but pack an immense amount of damage. And now Jin will be responding with that Ashe, so heavy focus into the bottom lane. They can pull it off as Zyra and Varus are incredibly immobile, and now we're going to get to see what they're going to decide for this top lane pick. Maybe Jarvan or Renekton would just be the ones that make the most sense.
Kled still available too.
As well.
Whoa, what?
Are you serious? Okay, that's a Colin to Fiora. That's a Colin to Fiora. I've seen that matchup before. But does Samsung throw a curveball? Yeah, it is Fiora mid. Yes, I knew it.
Guys, we got a treat. We got a treat tonight. Oh, this is so great.
Wait a minute. Are they swapping again? No, yeah, it's definitely Akali top. I don't think Kuzan's put any work in this. Yeah, you got to brush those shoulders up, baby. You're up against Fiora mid.
What a crazy ban pick. This is
nailed it.
Unbelievable. The Fiora mid, okay, we got Akali in this game. You guys thought the Aatrox yesterday in EU was crazy. Well, we got another crazy pick here. The Blitzcrank even is something that in the beginning of this split we were really excited to see. Now has become more common, but is also another very fun champion.
Yeah, and now Fiora is also pretty difficult to gank when you're dealing, or Rex is going to have a hard time ganking Fiora. She's really telegraphed, and when her unburrow comes through, so if she can nail a riposte onto that, you can easily turn the gank around and solo out a Rek'Sai. So this is going to be a game that is all about mechanical outplay here, which is going to be so exciting. And no wave clear. You don't have wave clear.
This is the game to make a thread about, guys. Just saying. This is going to be pretty intense.
Yeah, so Ixu will be trying to get advantages against Kled. To be honest, I have no idea how this lane is going to go between Kled and Akali. But Akali has great sustain. She can be a bit of a lane bully as she doesn't have a lot of energy. And then Samsung's game plan is clearly get advantage bottom lane, swap out to the top side of 1-3-1, and then find a way to split push all 3 lanes at once.
So you guys, if you're joining late, your eyes are not deceiving you. Those picks that you do see on the screen are true. And it looks like we're going to be jumping into game number 2 right now. So let's see how this Clown Fiesta will begin in game number 2.
Oh, and it begins with hooks over the pit.
That was actually close. PV was in a good spot to not get hooked.
Gotta respect that Blitzcrank, and that's what happens when you play against so much Blitz. You get a feel for the angles, the strategies. You gotta remember that all the Blitz we've seen, there's way more happening in the shadows, in those scrims, all those crazy level 1 strategies that teams try out. So they can expect it in some little trading going back and forth, and it's not really going to matter. You have these shields for your regeneration. But Fiora mid. He doesn't have crazy wave clear. It's all about that pressure into the mid lane. So Ambition's going to have to play quite aggressively in the jungle to find a way to allow Fiora to zone out Galio from hitting that wave.
Oh, Snowflower missing the hook. Looking for the level 1 with the extended slow of the Ashe after the hook.
Junglers are starting in a buff with a leash, so they both will finish into the bottom side of the map. Understandably so. You don't want to let Blitz start getting too aggressive, or Zyra start getting too much control in that bottom lane.
Nice movement there from Crown, actually dodging the Q. And yeah, I want to see a lot of this top lane because we haven't seen too much of Akali here.
I want to see all of it,
to say the least.
Give me a 5-man camp so I can see every single lane and random stuff as well.
So I saw the end of that grab. Cortez very aggressive after that grab. Cooldown is down. That was exactly the cooldown on that.
Look at
the
the
support player.
Look at the route that Ambition's doing. He skipped that Raptor camp. I hope he actually ends up going for that Scuttle Crab and gets control into the bottom lane. I think he's positioning for Gromp, however, but doing the quickest route out there to make sure that you can start setting up for your lanes a little bit sooner. And he will not go for that, as poor JJ did get to ward his own on his own. So now they feel a little bit safe, knowing that they're not going to get ganked by Rek'Sai.
He's making his way up into the Raptor camp here. Could try to come from behind. His Crown is getting very aggressive. You could see that pressure that he puts on, but here's Empty, forces the flash out of Crown, so they do trade flash for flash.
Great flash right away from Crown, and that's the control you have into this mid lane, into this matchup. And I expect Jin to want to go for some swaps early on, as armor itemization will be helping against both Fiora and Kled. So maybe they start making moves, swapping some lanes around. They have double TP, so this could easily turn to some crazy shenanigans. And now Kuzan might be in trouble.
No flash here. There is the taunt. Going to make him very hard to take down, and does not allow them to grab that kill.
Doesn't get taunted back by that, or CC'd by that riposte. And now the riposte is down. Umti's maybe fancying an opportunity into the mid lane. He does have his own flash. It's a long cooldown. Waiting for the dash. Just so calculated. This is why you call a play calculated, where he knows there's no need to be trading right there. He knows that if he were to walk up without riposte, not only is he going to expose himself, he has minion disadvantage, and he still has teleport. So as long as he keeps proccing some vitals, he'll be in a good spot in this lane.
He's looking to back now and go ahead and teleport back into the lane, as you were saying. Down the bottom lane, things look pretty even.
It's so rare for you to have a game with Blitzcrank and say that's the most boring lane.
That's true. That is actually true. I think once we hit level 6, we'll definitely get some more action down there. What with, Varus, Zyra, and actually the flash out of Ixu, and there's the easy first blood picked up. Umti looking to trade it back. And Cuvée in a bit of trouble here, trying to get back onto the Skarl. There's the flash to secure the kill. They will trade it 1-for-1.
Good outplay there from Umti, flashing in, not letting Skarl to come back into the mix. Had that happen, he likely would have gone down, but this is the beginnings of a lane that is going to be favoring Cuvée. He has so much pressure into this matchup, and they chose this lane. They saw the Akali being locked in, and this is Jin not considering the possibility that Crown was going to be that Fiora pick. There's no other reason for you to let these champions go through, and I'm disappointed with the preparation that Jin has had. They need to apply more creativity into their drafts and not find themselves in these situations.
Ambition wants to make it a party, wants to steal as many as possible. Knock up here onto Core JJ, but the root onto Teddy coming forward. That arrow from Ruler. Teddy is getting pretty low. He does have his heal. They're trying to make him proc it, but nice patience there from Teddy.
Some good harasser. Started out by harassing Core JJ, but gets a little too close and does end up hitting that root. And now you can expect these lanes to start really having some action as the level 6 is going through, as you were talking about earlier. But Teddy doesn't have a whole lot, and Snowflower having flash is the real only possibility for going into this lane.
Could happen. We got Umti nearby, but you can see Ruler just going to back off as his support goes into the river. Put down a little bit of that warding.
So even though topside Cuvée did find that solo kill onto Ixu, oh, here's Flash Blitzcrank.
They're trying to make it a bait here. The root does miss Snowflower. Empty, though, taking a ton of damage. Easy exhaust. He doesn't have his flash. And here comes Cuvée, too, looking to land that bear trap on a rope here onto Snowflower. Does get the flash out of them, and the hook onto Ruler. A heroic entrance from Galio with the knockup onto Ambition. Trying to turn this one around. A bit of damage coming out here from Kuzan. Still does not have his flash. Lots of low members. The flash over from Teddy, and the auto onto Ruler is not enough. They did have those health bots tick in, and it does save their lives.
And that's exactly why the engage wasn't so great, because Blitzcrank couldn't follow up. They chose Blitzcrank into Zyra. Zyra can just drop down the plant, and Snowflower has to make the hard decision of, does he flash in to follow through right away onto a low health Umti? And the answer is no, and immediately the collapse comes through. But heroic entrance just not enough to capitalize onto anything, as Ruler was not under turret aggro. And here he goes once again. Look at the plant. Plant right away. Do you flash over that plant to go for a crazy hook? No, they're all dead. There's a teleport here as well. So they try to retreat, and Teddy's none of them are level 6, so there's not crazy engages going through. But this hook, it's going onto a target that is not under turret aggro, so it would have likely been best saved for a little bit earlier if you combine it with the heroic entrance. But Kuzan without flash, Galio's not a threat. Galio's just an enabler.
Oh, and we have a fight in live right now. That stun out of Fiora will not land. Trying to give this kill over to one of these guys. It will be onto Umti's Rek'Sai.
And this is exactly what Jin is looking for. They're finally swapping out the lanes. It's Fiora into the top side. I believe she went top to cover the response that was going into the fight into the bottom lane. And she's not going to have an easy time into Fiora. This is what Jin Air was expecting, the matchup they signed up for. So they need to be swapping out the lanes once again. So shenanigans around topside. Here comes Kled going to the topside, but it looks like with the blue buff, Kuzan will have not a difficult time against mid lane, as he can just easily wave clear and not be too bothered by it. And here it comes once again, Fiora getting a little aggressive here, but that's an Akali into this matchup. Not the easiest. You can't really proc your vitals when she's on that stealth.
Good patience there from waiting for the riposte. You were talking about how it's kind of telegraphed, but you can use that against the Fiora too.
Exactly. So you have to be well practiced on this pick. And to go back onto why Akali is effective into Fiora, when Grand Challenge gets issued, you can easily drop your Twilight Shroud and wait a lot of the time for that ultimate. You can't fully wait it out, but you stall out so much that it's impossible for you to get all your vitals proc if you play it correctly.
Okay, the arrow is going to land here, the flash out of Ruler, but it hits CoreJJ. They can't really follow up, though. Not enough damage coming out here. They do back off.
They do get double flashes, but Umti a little bit too far behind. And the reason why he's so far behind is because they haven't established vision control first. So the angle that he has to go through is a bit odd. He doesn't have flash, but they can go for another attempt. However, there is a teleport on Crown, and he is in that position to assist.
Stranglethorn's still available for CoreJJ too, so they have to know that they're fighting into that ultimate ability. Infernal Drake is the first one. As you guys can see, lots of vision being put down here by Samsung, it seems, comparatively.
Oh man, and topside the Akali lane. It's so easy for her to last it under turret, so even though Cuvée had that pressure, she was able to easily recover, especially after that failed teleport into the bot side, and now she's sitting at a 27 CS advantage. Now that's going to end up being quite difficult to deal with, as when you're dealing with so many squishy champions on the side of Samsung, everybody but Kled, 2 marks of the assassin should probably do the trick in taking anyone down.
Definitely scary if she can take off. And you can see MT looking to go for the Rift Herald, perhaps? No, just going to burrow underneath here.
Looking for possibly a dive on Cuvée. He does have flash, and so does Umti. Kuzan shouldn't base here, so he does so well advised, as he has to keep an eye on Fiora in case of a teleport, and here it comes.
Here comes that dive. Cuvée just looking to go here. Does get the flash, but the flash out of Umti too. Looking for that unburrow, and there's that ultimate coming up. They will give the kill, though, over to Ixu on the Akali.
But Jin Air have to leave this lane. They need to make a beeline out of this turret. They're going to get dove here if they don't do this. They're counting on heroic entrance since Galio is moving down. But Fiora can teleport as well. It looks like they're just going to get zoned off the turret, trying to get some damage, but I think Jin Air will win this trade.
Yeah, Jin Air going to get the First Blood turret up in the top lane. Going to split that gold between that attack Rek'Sai and the Akali.
Oh man, the Akali. Now I got to tell you, Akali was actually the first champion I ever played.
Ever?
Well, when I was playing pro, Akali was like the thing that I wanted to play because I really liked Kill Bill as a movie, and she had a Kill Bill skin.
Well, there you go. A little bit of Crumbs trivia for you guys. Trying to trade back turrets here. Just going to pick up what they can on the back of this.
But they do lose the Rift Herald, and now the Gunblade is complete. So just another look at the dive. So Cuvée tries to flash out an ultimate, but a well-timed flash from Umti himself interrupted him. This is the distance that Akali can close. She's got 3 of those charges. She could have done that another time and still followed up with a Shadow Dance dash onto Cuvée.
Easy solo of the Rift Herald for MT. And they're actually looking for Cuvée up in top. Clear out this control ward. Blitzcrank. You can see Snowflower's making his way top too. They always have Galio from mid, who begins to move up towards the top side of the map, but looks like everybody's just backing off for now. No objectives being pushed.
Here's the big question mark for this game. How the hell is this 1-3-1 going to work? Because we know that Samsung will put their duo lane into the mid lane, and Fiora will be on the sides, but what about Akali? Such a bizarre pick to see in competitive. So rarely do we actually get to see what this champion does. And she disrupts the game in a way where she's so heavily diving people, and then you have heroic entrance to help her get tanky on top of her insane spell vamp and lifesteal.
What if this is the new Crumbs?
Oh,
Akali Galio on blue side.
I totally could see it. I think this pick has a lot of value.
They're looking to make this work onto Ixu, but Cuvée is 2 levels down and he misses Bear Trap on a rope. Yeah, that's not going to work. But Ixu almost does base check the Zyra brush.
He has to get babysat. He's got so much sustain that he pretty much wins any 1v1 duel. Really the mark of a true assassin, if you will.
Okay, there's this dive. I mean, there's just no way that Cuvée can get away. He can't stay in the lane against this Fed Akali anymore.
It's Gunblade, baby. There's no chance. He has to have 2 people. Kha'Zix basically needs to sit in that lane 24/7. And if Jin Air just continues to execute the 1-3-1 that Samsung want to do themselves, this is going to be exactly into their hands. And now all their lanes get to get advantages. They're pushing out, and Akali's set to carry.
I can't wait to see all the Akalis in solo queue. Oh, the arrow misses Core JJ, but he gets pulled in after a small delay and does get picked off. So another kill. Nice rotation from Jin Air. Good positioning from Snowflower.
And now they have control into the mid lane again. This means that Ixu can either rotate to mid through the red buff, get a steal himself, and denying the buff will put Ambition further behind. And now they're threatening the dive. Oh.
I mean, we're about to see Akali come in here. Here we go, that damage, and the big taunt, and Umburo is going to pick up the Fiora. They're still diving Ambition. There's just no getting away from Rek'Sai Akali.
Oh my god, I love this play from Jin Air. The composition makes so much sense. Everybody just reading each other, but they have no idea what Akali can really bring to the table. Now they're setting themselves up for a tier 2, and if Samsung get greedy, they're going to get hooked and die again.
This is so fun to watch, actually. This combo, just this entire composition brings so much action.
I think they took notes from what KT was doing, where they were playing Kha'Zix with Galio and Chen, so kind of use submarine-in champions that can get into the backline quite easily and get fights going. But Akali just takes it to another level. Her ranges and speed, and as well as assassination power, regardless of being isolated, is insane. And she's a level up with Gunblade. You got no chance, Cuvée.
Just casually tapping that that cannon, get some lifesteal, and yeah, you're just not getting away.
She's the best champion with Gunblade, period. Nobody benefits more from that item than her.
I'm curious what the rest of the build path looks like. Fiendish Codex is next.
That's probably just going to be a Banshee's Veil. It's a great item to just be a little bit safe. Even though there's not crazy magic resist or magic damage on the side of Samsung, it does help her out quite a bit. Can also be a Zhonya's. The Zhonya's would make more sense with the heavy physical lineup that Samsung have.
I mean, you can see they already have 4 Ninja Tabi.
Yeah, so it's either Zhonya's or Banshees here. Probably the Zhonya's, actually, not that Banshee's Veil, now that I think about it a little more.
Makes it a little bit easier to deal with Stranglethorns. You know, before the knockup, you can just Zhonya's it.
Oh, you kill Zyra before you even think about Stranglethorns.
Well, I suppose if you get dived on by the 3 members.
Here comes an attempt on maybe Cuvée. They can 2-man dive him under turret with heroic entrance. Okay, no control on mid, so they don't do it.
So Jin are looking to take their first dragon of this game. Funny, it's the same way that the dragons went in game number 1. Infernal to Samsung, Mountain to Jin Air.
This dragon means that they'll be in a great position to eventually get a Baron. And by the way, Akali's excellent at taking out Baron. Single target, heavy damage, no need for mana as well as sustain. You can tank it a little bit for your allies.
That was a weird piercing arrow from Ruler. He's like, remember me? I was in this lane once.
Oh, he's not going to want to be remembered after Akali gets her hands on him. You ever played an AD carry against those crazy divers?
Oh yeah, it's pretty gross. You just got to build Zhonya's yourself. I think that's the build.
It actually is the ultimate defensive tool. Dodging out on so much damage. GA does not do a whole lot for you. And it is going to be that Zhonya's as he now picks up his Seeker's arm guard. And I believe he's strong enough to 1v2 Ruler and Core JJ right now. So
what do you think about the Thorn Mail for Kuzan?
I love it. Remember that the magic damage really just comes from Core JJ, and Ruler's Blighted Quiver, so not too crazy. And as long as armor continues to be the trend for Jin then Samsung will need to be spiking a little bit harder when they start getting those late game piercing itemizations. But that just means that the rest of the Jin squad, such as Teddy and Umti, can catch up and start dealing some crazy damage. And Umti's no slouch right now, however. He's still at 4-1-2, but going with a pseudo damage build. I really like this one, the Dead Man's Plate with the Warrior's enchantment. Warrior is really the only thing to go on Rek'Sai right now, as our damage did get changed, but the Dead Man's fits the theme of a bruiser and not somebody that's trying to be an engager or a tank, just trying to deal damage into a fight, isolate some targets, and get some knockouts.
Okay, sitting on a ward. Ambition is going to be knocked up. He does leap away. And here we go. Down 2 levels is Kive right now. You just cannot escape. You have to charge away. And that's about it. That's going to be Kled in that lane.
That costs nothing for Akali. Sure, you use Gunblade. Look at the cooldown on that. It's almost halfway back.
Oh,
for
boy.
Shadow Dash, that doesn't mean anything. You start 3 charges, they rack up real quick. And now next all in, he can do that again and again, and Cuvée has to always retreat.
The return of Akali? Question mark?
And you know, even if Ambition is to gank this lane, there's a high chance that Ixu can actually turn on both. Pops Ambition immediately, then turns on to Cuvée. The spell vamp and lifesteal is huge.
Well, Jin are taking this slow. The Baron hasn't even spawned yet, which is part of the issue. Just looking to push onto tier 2s wherever they can. You can see a 5-man rotation into bot lane. Ixu dealing damage into that turret. Can we see a grab here by Snowflower? He's just threatening it, saying, okay, I dare you to get close. And that's going to be another tier 2 going over to Jin.
Great move right there, choosing to hold on to that advantage. And Jin, a team that I've always praised for their ability to figure out what their strong point is, they almost always end up collapsing and not utilizing that advantage well. They look for plays in places where they shouldn't be looking, but this time around, when the advantage is just so obviously Akali, it seems like the game plan becomes that much more clear in their heads. And this game could be the start of Jin finally understanding how to win games.
A long and drawn-out process. Teleport coming in from Ixu and Kuzan. Okay, they're going on to Ruler. Goodbye, Varus. Stranglethorns comes in, knocks up Ixu. Looks like he still has Zhonya's, doesn't even need to use it. Meanwhile, we saw Kha'Zix going down in the jungle.
Give it to Akali. Let her last heal off that 205 from that one. And with that red buff region, they can transition into a quick 20-minute Baron. There's no jungler to steal this. There's so much regen on the side of Jin here that, oh, just so nice.
Yeah, you can see the lifesteal coming on in. Crown not even going to go near it. No points. Him and Kive are just pushing a turret. They need to get back some gold. It's going to be a nice pickup, but they're still really far behind.
It's a good response. Actually, I don't see how Samsung can end up winning this game. As long as Jin end up grouping as 5 members without a tank and without anybody to dispatch of Akali, as remember that there isn't actually any crazy crowd control on the side of Samsung. The only actual disable is the Stranglethorns knockup from Core JJ, the charge from Cuvée, which is incredibly rare, and if somehow Crown gets a riposte off a CC move. So when you're dealing with these crazy picks like Akali, maybe even a Master Yi at some point, you just need crowd control. But when you lack it, it's that much more efficient to play these picks.
Yeah, Jin, I mean, I like what they banned coming in here too. I mean, you take away the Gragas, one of the heavy CC picks that Samsung always likes to bring in for Ambition. Force them onto the Kha'Zix. And pick up Galio for yourself.
Yeah, and I think maybe now they should have seen that here it comes. Yeah, Grand Challenge, you waited out.
Yeah, just chilling, you know, just waiting. And now Crown is on the run. There's the riposte. Trying to fight back the flash forward from Ixu, and in fact, Crown will get away.
No chance of 1v1ing Ixu right now. That is a far behind Fiora against a 2-level advantage on that Akali. And I want to go back on the draft where I was thinking maybe Jin didn't account for the Fiora into the mid lane. Maybe they even did. Just don't know that. But the thing that they definitely planned is the strength of Akali, and that eventually pretty much no matchup in the top side can beat her.
Well, when you get this far ahead, definitely makes it a bit easier to stomp your opponents. Infernal Drake comes up, so some pretty nice follow-up Drakes for Jin Air. They're going to even up the Infernal Drake. And also they have that Mountain.
It's going to be a clinical process for them right now. 1-3-1 or 1-4, utilize Galio in the respective side lanes, and if you can get a hook or an arrow, all the more power to you.
You can see most of Samsung just grouping up down in the bottom lane for now. It seems Kyve has been sent to Galio duty in the mid lane, and Crown is the answer for this Akali.
She can't go for crazy dives into Fiora. Remember that if she's going to be under turret aggro, she will get spotted in that Twilight Shroud. So looking for maybe Galio. Here's the dive.
Oh, man. Come take a look up at top lane. Crown is down to half health. Ixu almost at full still.
So he plays it well, gets out the Grand Challenge, and then quickly retreats as he does. She does get to go a little bit faster in that invisibility.
You can see he's waiting it out. He's very patient. Not looking to dive with the Grand Challenge up or anything like that.
She's tanking with her. Doesn't care. No chance for Crown there.
And the slow push in the bot lane too. And Chain of Corruption is going to land here, but the heroic entrance from Kuzan. And Umti will flash away to safety.
Umti getting greedy, and this could cost Jin Air's ability to crack the base with this Baron. Instead of utilizing that Grand Challenge onto Fiora, or onto the Akali, it gets utilized just to save an overstep from Umti. So, bit of a rookie mistake there.
I like the multi-view we got going on here because you can see exactly what's happening up in top lane. Kyve forced to go up into the top lane and deal with that, and charges down into bot lane. They can't even get a pick. Ixu is still pushing here. Going to try to bring in Ambition with the Void Assault. Doesn't make it in time.
I don't know about you, but that multi-view is going to get me cross-eyed one of these days.
I mean, it's good for seeing a lot of the action. But you always want to watch both. Slowest push ever. That actually hits Core JJ. Goodbye. Nice snipe there from Teddy. And they will be able to pick up that turret off the back of that. Should be inhibitor down in bot lane. Meanwhile, a dive onto Ambition. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Ixu now level 16 Akali.
What does he think? That Crown's just not fighting him for the fun? This one's all over now. Akali's just so fed. Lifesteal's off the wave, and what's Crown going to do about it? That's going to be near full HP already.
Well, he's going to try, but you can see he's edging towards his turret. And meanwhile, the rest of Jin Air is rotating on over. You were talking about the clinical process. Looks almost as dominant as Samsung's game number 1.
Yeah, 2 kills, 2 turrets, actually in a similar game time. So both teams just walking all over each other. And a bit of a cocky draft from Samsung, but Jin Air had their own game plan. God, they executed just so well.
It's really a beauty to watch, and you can see the potential from some of these mid-level teams. And it's a totally different Jin Air from what we saw in spring.
There's a reason why earlier we were thinking, wow, Jin Air is going to be such a crazy team to watch. Are they really putting up this crazy of a fight against some of the teams? When they played Longzhu, they actually took them down. That's when we were thinking, wow, Jin Air has a lot of potential, and now here comes a great arrow onto the back of Core JJ as soon as he used his root. So he basically CCs himself, and the arrow comes right at the exact same time. So he can't use any sidestepping moves, doesn't even use his flash, and ends up dying, and that's a 2 inhibitor advantage for Jin Air. Only the mid lane remains, and all they need to do is push once again, and this one should be maybe even faster than Samsung's.
Well, they got to end it in a minute. Can
Maybe.
they do it?
1 minute.
Guardian Angel on Teddy, saying, okay, you can try to dive me, but I'll come back. We have the real threat is Akali in this game anyway.
Oh, she's so tanky now, right? 4 levels onto Kyve, 6 levels onto Core JJ. Look at that.
Oh, dodges the root! Down goes Syra, who's 6 levels behind. Still jumping in the flash taunts here from Galio to add insult to injury. Double kill for Ixu. Can he make it a triple? Well, this looks like the triple. Will they get the other? There's the Chain of Corruption. Going in is Ixu. And the hook. The hook. Will they give it over? There's the quad kill. Going for Crown. Will we see the Penta? Yeah! Penta kill for Akali in this game. And Ixu showing up like a beast is going to take the Penta and the easy game 2 to the generic Greenwings.
And I think they're going to do it in under 28 minutes as well. 2 more seconds.
28 minutes. Gener with the quickest clapback you've ever seen in LCK summer.
We got ourselves a hell of a series. Wow.
Okay.
Akali ban's next game for sure.
I mean, it's always a treat to see a secret weapon come in. You know, they start Sohan, they kind of play standard. It doesn't look good, they get crushed, and then they're like, okay, it's time to bring in the closer.
Blitz Akali. Look at the pop in his collar.
He looks really confident after that win.
Oh, boy.
Ruler's getting all hot and bothered after seeing Akali doing those moves.
Yeah, they just got hit by something they had no idea. There's no way you prepare into Akali. Who do you even tell, hey, could you play Akali for me? There's no sister teams. You don't even see that in solo queue.
Kive looks stunned.
Yeah.
Can't believe it either. He's like, whoa, that Akali play was pretty intense.
Damn, Ixu. I didn't know you had that in you.
I'm kind of scared sitting next to this guy.
But Samsung usually takes their losses pretty hard anyways. But man, this next game, usually when you see Stomp, the third one is a mixture of both where they all figure it out and you get yourself a close series. And this is where it all started, where Crown was thinking, oh, I'm perfectly fine dealing with Akali, but when comes around, the advantages for Ixu are even bigger from the failed TP from Cuban. This is just an example of Akali can dash to the minion, and then she still has another charge, so she could have easily just dashed in had he gone further.
Yeah, and this was one of the solo kills when you can see Kive just hits level 9, but it just doesn't matter. You're too far behind.
Akali's itemization spike is just so beautiful to watch when you get that Gunblade, then you hit that Zhonya's, then the Rylai's. It all makes such a difference. A great little arrow onto Ambition. This one, when it was all said and done, just all too easy. Arrow into hook. Meanwhile, topside's already pushing. They'll get an inhibitor on this, and I hope we get to see. We're about to see. It has to be Sheln, the pentakill.
Yeah. Well, here's the beginning.
Well, that's a triple right there, but
the third kill.
It's the hook onto Varus that allows this to actually happen. The fact that he gets this beautiful flash hook, Snowflower, just being a true bro, enabling him, and everybody, all right, hold the damage, let him have it.
Yeah, handing that one over, well deserved. And I wonder who the MVP of this game is going to be. This scoreline looks really a lot like Game 1. And that is probably the biggest discrepancy we've ever seen in damage.
Oh man, this game was everything. Probably my favorite game of the season so far. The draft was so exciting to watch. Following up from that game 1, then into this, and now 26,000 on Akali.
At least in the first game, you know, some other players had damage, but on this graph, it looks like no one else even has damage.
Yeah, it's the Ixu show for sure. And next game, I mean, Akali bans 100%. They had no idea how to deal with it. The draft did not expect that at all. None of us did. Who could have foreseen that Akali would have been picked as a final blind?
We didn't see it before, but we surely saw it after. So guys, we're going to take a quick break. I hope we have